welcome to Gaga Knits. My name's Anita and this is where I share my knitting, sewing and other crafts with you. I hope you've had a nice week since we spoke last. Today is Sunday the 10th of March, so it's Mothering Sunday here in the UK. Happy Mother's Day to any mothers out there. I hope you're all having a nice day and being spoiled. I've got my mum coming over later for lunch, so I've made a shepherd's pie and a pavlova, a fruit pavlova. I've put some strawberries, kiwi and grapes in that, so I'm hoping she'll enjoy her lunch. We went out with Jodie and Matthew and the boys and Matthew's mum and partner yesterday for a meal, so that was nice as well. So I'm all round having a nice Mother's Day weekend. Now I usually film in the conservatory, but unfortunately we're having some work done in there at the moment. When we bought this house, it had the conservatory attached, but we've always had problems with rising damp around the large windows, and Martin has hacked away a bit at the bottom to see what's going on, and it would appear that the builders have built the conservatory above the damp course, and also where we have a sort of bumpy render outside of the house, they have just skimmed over that and built the conservatory on, so that's why we've got some issues. So at least we found out what the problems are and we know how to solve them, so we're going to have to get on with that. But it means that I can't sit in the conservatory, which is the lightest room of the house, so I'm in the living room. Martin has popped to see his mum this morning to take some flowers and a card for Mother's Day, and I'm hoping he doesn't come back until I finish recording this, because even though he watches my videos, I don't like him sitting there when I'm recording them. It's 25 to 12 and my mum's coming over at 1. So we've got to go and collect her, so I think I should be all right. It's just going to be a little quick update this week, I'm afraid. But I have been making a few things. I have finished the little baby socks. You're probably bored to death of seeing these socks that I keep making. One of the ladies I follow on Instagram, Jo through the keyhole, she has just announced that she's going to become a grandma, and she has put 2 little pairs of baby socks on her grid that are adorable. There's one pair that's a cable knit. I'm thinking I might have to venture out past this pattern. So here they are, the 2. They are the baby socks by Kate Atherley, and I really, really like this pattern. It's so cute. It's the little cuff, I think, that does it, and they don't match exactly, but I don't think the lady in question or the mum-to-be will mind. So that's my first finish, and every time I finish a knitting project, I crochet a square for my crochet granny square blanket. It's my sort of palette cleanser. And then Noah, the little cat that my grandson Harry gave me, sits on top. And I keep them here by the side of me, and it's quite a nice pile now, getting bigger. So I do 1 and sometimes 2 squares before I start then on the next project. So once I'd finished the baby socks, I had a look on my list to see what else I had planned to make, and it was Martin's socks. He requested a pair of socks. So I'm keeping them in this lovely bag that I had from Davina from Little Workroom Crafts, and I am making the Vanilla Latte Socks in Drops Fabel Print. It just says colour 913, but it's greys and light blue and navy, which are Martin's favourite go-to colours. And I did think there was a little bit of black in there, hence I have done black cuffs, heel and eventually a toe, but it isn't black, it's navy blue. Never mind, I think they still look nice, and I only have a 50-gram ball of wool, so I'm hoping that I can get 2 socks out of it. Martin's only got size 7 feet, so they're not that big, and I did I've done 6 inches down to the heel although the pattern said 7 inches or your preference, I measured them up against the other pair of socks I've made him, and that was 6 inches, so I don't think they're going to be too short. And then I will knit, I think I will knit to the end of the foot and then weigh my yarn, and if I haven't got quite enough, I will maybe take that back a little bit and knit some rows in black before I get to the toe, and then do the other sock. Then I want to make sure I've got enough of the black as well. So I'm playing a bit of yarn chicken with that project. Oh, and another thing I'm doing with these is I'm knitting, I'm having another go at knitting with 9-inch circlers, and I'm getting on much better with it this time. So when I learned to knit socks, I did the magic loop, and I really liked that. And then I tried knitting on DPNs and I couldn't get on with it, so went back to the magic loop. Then later I tried the DPNs again and found I really liked those more than the magic loop because it seemed to just work up quicker, so I changed to that. I tried these 9-inch circlers, couldn't get on with them. Oh, Martin's back. Yes, he's back. I'm going to have to come back to you later. But anyway, the 9-inch circlers I am really enjoying. I've got the pair that one needle is slightly longer than the other, and that works well. They are the Addi Sockwonders. So that's working out better for me. And I cast them on in work and I had forgotten the stitch markers, so I used a paper clip, and it's working really well. You don't need really expensive notions. You can just use paper clips. Doesn't catch on the wall or anything. I might use those again. Anyway, I shall come back to you later when I've made Martin go upstairs and sit in his room. Won't be long. I'm back, although you don't know that I went away. Martin has gone to his shed. So I said I won't be long now, just another 5 or 10 minutes. So that's all my knitting and crochet. And I started sewing again this week. I have made the Safiya trousers from the Make It Simple book by Tilly and the Buttons, and it is a pattern for beginners. It's very simple. It's only got 2 pattern pieces. I did find it a little bit difficult to trace out the pattern because whenever you have a book full of patterns, you obviously the patterns overlay on the sheets, and I've got Tilly's other books as well, and they do overlay a little bit the patterns, but this one seemed just particularly busy. And the one trouser leg was in black and the other trouser leg was in red for you to trace, and they were both in 2 sections because of the size of a leg, obviously the length of a leg. But I did trace them out, and then when I was sewing them up, sewing the outer leg, the leg was too long, so the 2 pieces didn't meet together properly, so I had to chop a bit off. And I thought, right, at the end of making these trousers, I will have a look at the pattern, because I thought maybe I'd put it together incorrectly, where you had to sort of trace 2 sections and put them together. So I thought I might have done something wrong there. I also extended the leg by 4.5 inches because the pattern is for 3/4 length trousers and they're quite flary, and I'm only 5'1.5", and I thought that is not going to be a flattering look on me, so I wanted to lengthen them. And then when I'd sewed them up, they were very big in the crotch area, and I couldn't have worn them like that. It's a wearable toile, so I didn't like that, and I decided they were about 2 inches too long in the crotch area, so I cut the waistband off and re-sewed it, so that brought it up. Now they're a little bit snug. So I shall put a picture on of the side. I'm quite happy with them because they are just a wearable toile. It's very cheap linen I think it was a linen viscose or linen look viscose. So here they are. You can't really see them that well. It's got quite a flattering waist because it's an elasticated waist at the back. You can't really see, can you? It's dark. It's elasticated waist, and you bring the elastic channel round to the front and you sew the elastic here and here. There's a measurement for each size, and this piece is then just sewn down as a flat panel. So that's quite nice, and I quite like the length they are now. So then I decided, right, I'll put them in my sewing book and have a little look to see where I might have gone wrong. And then I found out exactly where I went wrong. Where I traced the front leg pattern piece off, there was a little bit of tracing paper at the top that I should have cut off, and I didn't. I left it, so therefore the front from the waist to the crotch was too long, and then that obviously threw out the leg. So I don't think I'll need to make any adjustments next time. I'll just do the standard size 5. I'm going to use my black fabric next that when I sorted my stash out. I've got a couple of meters of that, and I think they will be perfect then. So I shall show you those in more detail. I was a little bit disappointed in this one. It was my own fault. And I've learnt a lesson. When I'm going to sew things like trousers in the future, once I've cut the 2 pattern pieces out, I'm going to line them up against each other to make sure that the length and things are about the same. Because if I'd done that, I would have known straight away there was something wrong. So that's my sewing. Wearable toile disaster, really. The simplest of patterns, and I went completely wrong. Never mind, I know where I went wrong and I know how to improve. And the last section is acquisitions. Now this year I'm not meant to be buying any craft supplies or wool or fabric or anything apart from Wonder Wool, and I've accidentally bought some fabric, but I don't really know if I have broken my own rule because it's not for dressmaking. As you've seen in my previous videos, I've been upcycling and I want to start just doing some general DIY and decorating around the house. We've had a lot of things done, like walls replastered and things like that. And for example, in here, we had all the walls replastered and just painted them all white with quite a cheap paint. And so it all really needs doing. We never painted the doors or the skirting boards. They're still just the undercoat. So they need to be done. And I thought it would be nice to have some new curtains. Now I liked the Angel Strawbridge potagerie fabric on Terry's Fabrics, and I wanted a sample of that for curtains, and I wanted to buy the curtains ready-made because I wanted a Roman blind in the living room end and long curtains at the back, and I just thought it's better to have them done professionally. But they didn't have any fabric samples available. They were out of stock. So then I thought, well, why don't I buy 2 cushions and then I can see what the fabric looks like in the cushions. So the cushions came with cushion pads, and I didn't want those because I like feather cushions and I know these would be just polyester. And I didn't want more cushions, I just wanted the covers, and they were quite expensive. I think they were £25 each, something like that for the cushion, and I suppose it did have the pad. And then I thought, well, why don't I just buy a metre of the fabric? It's 1.5 metres wide because it's upholstery fabric, and so 1 metre long. I can make 2 cushions easily. I can also see whether I like the fabric or not. So I happily ordered it and then thought, I've ordered fabric and I'm not supposed to. But technically it's for making cushions, not sewing. And here it is. It's lovely, so nice, and I do like it, but I've decided it's rather expensive if you have the curtains made, because they aren't in ready-made curtains. You have to have them made. So I will make the cushions, and I have ordered some curtains from Terry's Fabrics, but they're ready-made ones. They're a lot cheaper, but I will have some of this. I've got quite a lot of cream and gold and green in the living room. So what do you think? Have I broken my own rule? Well, it wasn't really a New Year's resolution, although it was around about that time. Have I broken my own rule? Shall I just start buying things now? Or, because these are for cushions and not actually sewing like dresses, although it is crafting, what do you think? Are you going to let me off? Or have I broken my own rule? You can leave a comment, let me know. Anyway, that's everything. I'll go and make Martin a cup of tea now and bring him in from the shed, and we will go and pick my mum up soon, and she can come over for lunch. I hope you all have a lovely day, whatever you're doing. If you're a mum and you're in the UK, I hope you're having a lovely Mother's Day, and I shall see you all next week. Bye.